and you might have ADHD. So, good morning, good morning, good morning. I just popped on my live on StreamYard. So, if you're following me and like to make a comment, like let me know that you're here because as we get more engagement, I'll be doing things like giving away some cool prizes. Yes, wherever you are, I'll be giving away some cool stuff. And if you'd like to come and see the horses, even cooler. So, if you're here and watching the comments and engagement, the more you engage, the more I will give. So it's up to you guys as to what, and even if it's after the fact, even if you can't make the live, but more importantly on the live, I'm going to be giving away some cool stuff. So if you're watching and would like to win cool prizes and have the opportunity to come and see the horses and all those kinds of things, then I would love for you to just comment, let me know that you're here, drop me a heart, let me know that you're alive. So I'm going to talk about what it's like to have ADHD. If you have it, just throw me a little heart. A lot of people do have ADHD or been diagnosed. I know that if I was a child now, if I was a young person right now, they would have diagnosed me like that because I can't sit still. I have a lot to say. I never shut up. I spent a lot of time out in the hall as a kid in school because I was always talking. And in my 8th grade earth science class, I would sit right in front of Mr. Gregg. Yeah, he was the big, tall guy. Went to my church, but I was always in trouble. I couldn't cut, my last name started with a B my maiden name was started with a B. So I was right in the front row. And my mom, in her infinite wisdom, I said, hey, why don't you just put her in the back? Put her in the back of the class. And the minute he did that and got me out of his face, because I wasn't being disruptive, like by passing notes or do you like me? I was asking him questions. I'm like, well, what about this? And what about that? And he is a trace personality type, science teacher, very much like my grandfather, a little bit like my grandfather was a science teacher too. So of course, somebody that's more introverted and more science driven and more like you would think they would want more questions from kids, but they did not want more questions from kids. He wanted silence. He wanted me to pay attention. He wanted me to take the notes. He didn't want any kind of creativity or exploration. He just wanted to get the material across. This is a cumulonimbus cloud. This is a cirrus cloud. This is your science project. This is a metamorphosis rock. And incidentally, I loved earth science. I remember those things like gneiss is a metamorphic rock. I mean, how do I remember these things? Now that's it. And that right there is another sign of someone that you might have ADHD, is that you have like this kind of weird sort of steel trap memory for stuff. If you have ADHD, a lot of times you're like, how do you retain all this stuff? It's because we don't know how to straighten the string. We just don't know. Our string is like all kinds of, we do not know how to straighten the string. And I say we and put myself in this category because when you talk to people or if you're around me very much, it's like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And it may not be ADHD that you actually have. It just may be the fact that we are constantly bombarded with stuff and little red numbers. I'm looking across my screen at the bottom of my screen right now because I have a Mac and all the little icons are down there. And I have 4 things that have that little red number on there with notifications for me to check. We're all looking at that number that's going to give us that little dopamine release. Now, if you're not a Bella personality type or persona like me, and you have ADHD, you might be a Dante, but most of the people with ADHD or the primary type of ADHD, there's like 7 different kinds, are Bellas. And if you want to know what that's like, just go, ask me, message me, what's a Bella? And I'll give you a little bit of an insight. A Bella is someone that is high energy, feisty, kind of like nervous to be around people, not because they don't know how to talk to people, because all they do is talk, but they've been told so much that like nobody likes a lippy woman, so then we start to get quiet or we over talk to compensate. Right. So you go in here and you're like, I'm overcompensating. I'm trying to figure out how to talk to people. Somebody invited me to a party. I don't know what to bring. So I'm going to bring a little bit of everything. We tend to be over pleasers. We tend to over deliver in energy, but we also tend to give people a little bit of a sunburn when we're too much. Like a lot of times, like, oh man, I love her, but I can only take her in small doses. And I'll never forget There was an evening I was with my friend Liz, who also has ADHD, and my other friend Sherry, who also has ADHD, way worse than I do. Not that there's comparisons here, but we were, and then my sister-in-law, who's an introvert and has like kind of social anxiety, has like she doesn't really, her social skills are like to actually be around people in a social setting is tough for her. And she afterwards, she's like, I can't be around you three. When you three get together, it's like this cacophony of just energy everywhere, kind of like, like Pigpen, as a like ball of dust, like this big ball of energy. So if you do have that, think about it. It's like, I think about the X-Men, like Cyclops and his eye, when he takes his goggles off, like the energy of his eye like decimates things. But when he has the goggles on and it filters through, things can be clear. And so what I would offer you is that, okay, I'm not going to say I'm not a medical doctor. I'm going to say, just consider the fact that you may or may not have ADHD. You may just be someone that is a Bella that has a passion and a mission for something, and you just don't know where to put your energy. And so then you put your energy over here, and then you put your energy over there, and you get what is called shiny penny syndrome. You get shiny penny syndrome big time. And like for me, it shows up really importantly because my mission is so important. And I'm like, I could do this, and then I could do this, and I could have people come out and do a meditation, and then I could have a weekend, and we could just we could do this. And so Bellas are great brainstormers. If Google is going to hire a team to brainstorm, they're going to hire Bellas, and they're going to hire people that say yes and then let's do this, and yes and let's do that. I was listening to Jesse Itzler. Love that man. Love Jesse. And he was talking about, I want yes and friends. I call them Jello rocket ship friends, because if you have a crazy idea, I don't want anybody like, you're ADHD. You're good luck with that. When I got into horses, that was the same thing. When I said, because I tried all these other different things. I was on my way to becoming a scuba instructor before I got into horses. Right. So they're like, oh, there she goes again. What's next? Which next expensive hobby is Jen going to undertake? But when you really strike the center of the ball, when you really hear that whack, and you're like, or if you hit a really good baseball, you hear that crack of the bat or a golf swing or whatever it is, when you hit that note, there you go. Music's even better because it's all about vibration. When you hit that, like I knew that horses were it. I didn't know what it looked like. I didn't know where I was going. I wanted to go to the Olympics. That was my initial first dream, but I knew it was horses, and that was it. And I have never been more passionate or focused on something in my entire life. And I became obsessed. Now that can happen if you have ADHD. You get like really super laser focused on something, like my mission for horses. Like that's my mission. And I want to support people. I have created something so powerful with these animals to come out and experience it. And it's not me that created it. It was just downloads from source. Source energy said this one for the horses, this one to create programs for this. And I'm put these things together. My problem comes is that and I always am saying, is it okay if I over deliver? Like if you guys start engaging and dropping me comments, and throwing me stuff out there, I'm going to give to you guys. I want to hear, ask me questions. I have a depth of knowledge that is just, I know so much about so many different things. I could talk about just almost any topic, now whether I want to talk about it or to what depth I can, but I'm a really great conversationalist. That's another good sign of somebody that has ADHD, because they could talk about a lot of different topics because they know their brains can jump from one idea. So I want you to think about, if you feel like I got ADHD and like this, it's this big neurodiverse like millstone around your neck, think again. Because you guys, like the creativity that flows, the ideologies that come out, the brainstorming, like you wouldn't believe. That's why I call it Jello rocket ship, right? Because if I say, hey, I want to take a Jello rocket ship to the sun, I want somebody going, cool, what flavor? What's your favorite flavor? You're going to make, that sounds great. Make sure you get good pictures. How can I help? Not, well, where are you going to put the seatbelts? Jello is made of sugar, right? That's a dumb idea. Whoever thought of that? Why would you want to do that? Right? So if you hear any questions around an idea that sounds like crazy, you ADHD people out there, because you have crazy ideas that are brilliant, you now need to do three things. Number one, surround yourself only with Jello rocket ship friends, or like what Jesse calls yes and friends, improv type of friends, because you do like to fly by the seat of your pants quite a bit, right? Number one. That's it. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people that support your ideas, no matter how crazy they are. I want people believing in me. I want people saying, yes, when I got this property, I've got this beautiful new property. I'm going to be hosting retreats and weekend getaways and all kinds of cool little intimate events. And everything there is going to be sort of in, this beautiful, gorgeous container. I texted my mom. I said, Mom, I want to share this with you because I love you. And I want to share, a great success that I'm having. And I said, however, if we get on the phone, I can't hear. Well, how are you going to pay for it? Who's going to come? What did you read the HOA bylaws? How are you going to, where the horse is going to go? I can't. Like, those things will figure themselves out as I go here. And that doesn't mean I don't pay attention to those things. I just don't focus on those things. You ever drive, right? And when you're driving this way, this is where your focus is. You see a car coming up on the left side and you're thinking about getting into the other lane. You're going to do this, right? You're going to look over, and then look back. That look over is doing the figure outables. That's the strategy stuff. Okay, I'm focusing, I'm going here. I'm going to look over, look again, and come back, right? And then I'm going to go ahead and move over and take that aligned action. And that's the key piece. Us folks that are over here that are not taking aligned action, when you're feeling in a suffering space, it's just because you're out of alignment. You're in the wrong lane. You're just going in the wrong lane. That's it. And when you can relax, that's the other piece us ADHD people don't have. And I'm not labeling y'all, but just if you're like, because I hear it all the time. Oh, it's just my ADHD. I'm like, well, if it's just your ADHD, then go take a pill for that. I'm kidding. Then whatever pain you're feeling is a lie you're telling to yourself that is going through the filter of you claiming you just have ADHD. You probably don't. And even if you do, it's okay to be in denial if you can get focused and clear and get through your day. You don't have to go out there and take a pill. You can go out there and say, all right, let's make lists. Let's take a breath. You know how many times I go through the day and I just get still for a moment? That's number 2. Get still. Man, just get still. Even if it's for like 3 minutes, just get still, or 30 seconds if you got your keys in your hand and you're out the door. And then the third thing is put less on your plate, not more. Like today, my only goal today is to attract 2 people that want to go to my weekend getaways. I have 2 spots left at my fire sale price to come and experience the horses all inclusive for a whole weekend. And I'm amazed that they haven't gone, like, they didn't sell like hotcakes. I sold a lot, like fast, but I had these last 2 spots I'm like hanging on to. So I'm not going to focus on, I got 2 people, I'm going to focus on who can I serve? Who needs this lesson? Who needs this message? Who would like to come here, right? Who would be excited to come and spend a weekend playing with horses and in meditation and learning about your personality type and understanding leadership skills? Who are the 2 people out there today that need to hear this message that want to come? Because that's it. I've got 2 more spots at the sale price. So that's my focus, right? That's my 10 and 2. Now, if somebody calls me and has something that this is what I'll do. I'll look in the mirror, I'll look there, and then I'll move over, handle it, and move on. Right? I had some things I needed to handle yesterday. And that's the things that you just handle. You put those on the short list and you handle them and move on. And then you can come back. And anytime you feel like you are suffering from ADHD, do those 3 things. Right? And if I were to say the most important one of any of them is to get still. Be around yes and people that believe in your dream. Get still, and then do less, not more. If you want to come and play with Bella, I will show you what it's like to have, what it feels like from an outsider's perspective for someone that has ADHD. This poor little horse has such a hard time doing some of the simplest things because she has been handled in a way when she was very young that told her that whatever way she was doing it was wrong. It was always wrong. It was never good enough. And a lot of times the ADHD stuff, it comes from that. You're never good enough, so you got to do a little more. You're never good enough, so you got to bring more, do more, hustle more, grind more, make more phone calls, right? Now, that doesn't mean you don't take action. That's not the point, but take aligned action. And the way you do that is by putting yourself around people that cheer you on and support you, and disengage with anyone that does not. Like, I'm going through a big friend call right now where if you are not aligned with me in a way that I understand, then we aren't in alignment at this time. Doesn't mean it can change. My relationship labyrinth goes, when you talk about the relationship labyrinth, we go over all that. Then number 2, get still. Doesn't mean go and sit for 2 hours and meditate. There are times to do that, but not for this. For this, just take 1, 2, maybe 3 deep breaths. Stop what you're doing and just get still. Then the last thing is to do less, not more. And the way you do that is to prioritize what the most important thing to do is. Just what is the most important thing right now in this moment that you need to do to allow yourself to feel the way you choose to feel. And if you've been watching any of my other lives, the choice of how you want to feel is so important. Like, that's so critical. And most of us don't want to feel frantic, running around, missing deadlines, too much on our plate. Most of us don't want to feel that way. So if you find yourself feeling that way, take a deep breath, get still, look at your list that's longer than Santa Claus's Christmas list, and decide what is the one thing I can do right now. Screw the schedule. If you were in the hospital, that schedule would not matter, right? If something bad happened, God forbid, the schedule would not matter. And all those things that you are so attached to and so worried about will just stop, right? Somebody gets in a car accident or something happens, the day stops, doesn't it? So when you can put something at that level of priority, where it is that important to you, not because of fear or pain or going away from pain. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. Tomorrow, it's going to be how to get off the nail, as it's so important. And if you are a different personality types, I'm specifically talking to my Bellas out there today, then you have to put yourself in a position where you can use your skills in a way that serves you at the highest and best, right? And the number one way to do that is to get still. And because Traces don't have any problem being still. They're pros at that. And they actually wait for you to show up before they take action, right? Now, they're playful and they get a lot of stuff done. And they're very hard workers, but they have to see the point. Whereas Bellas are just go and go and go, whether or not they see the point. So when you can see the point and allow yourself that opportunity and grace, if you're on, let me know if this is resonating with you. Throw me a heart. Show me some love, guys. If this is meaningful to you and you're seeing how, oh my gosh, if I just did those 3 things, surround yourself with people that understand you and support you, get still, and do less, not more. Pick that one thing. Michael Keller wrote a great book. It's called The One Thing. Now it talks about it's very masculine in its approach. And if you're a feminine woman here, ladies, getting still and aligning. Good morning, Mark. Aligning your actions will allow you to make so much more progress. And I don't know about you, but I'm a list maker. You see my house, it's full of lists everywhere, sticky notes, notebooks. I got all this stuff, but I've got it honed in a way that it allows me to get through my day and play in the hay. No, just kidding. But it allows me to go through my day in a way that I check these things off with flow and ease and elegance and things that coming out that are coming out in my universe are really profound. Like this property just showed up in my email and I was like, I have to have this property. It just has to happen. I have no idea how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to align, attract my tribe by aligning, get still and do less, not more. What is the next step? It's on my board. 2 people. Anyone come and wants to spend a weekend with me? Mark, come spend a weekend with me. You'd love it. All right, y'all. That's what it is today. I hope this was powerful for you. Remember to believe in yourself. It will change your life. And have a wacky Wednesday. Have an amazing first day of summer. I'm going to be going live here a little bit later this afternoon or this evening. So make sure you're tuning in for that because we're going to talk about the 93 days of summer. It starts today and my hashtag is summer hard. Like, let's go through and do some things that are really impactful for this summer. Thanks for the likes, guys. Appreciate you. And how can you take the next 93 days? Today is the first day of summer, June 21st. And it'll go, thanks for the hearts. You're so sweet. That's right. Yes, you're only 30 minutes away. You'll have to come to my weekend. So powerful. So take those things in today, 93 days till September 23rd is first day of fall. What are you going to do this summer to align, get still, and move the needle one step at a time? Have an amazing day. Reach out to me if you want to come and experience the horses live in West Palm Beach, Florida. And as always, believe in yourself. It will change your life. Good chatting with you, Mark. Good to see you on here. Talk soon.